Pay attention. Have you ever pondered why certain individuals unravel when you maintain your composure and simply walk away? It's not you they're angry with. It's the reflection you present, revealing realities they are unwilling to confront. In this video, we explore the intriguing reasons behind the allure of your silence, the way your tranquility seems to serve as their punishment, and how your personal growth lays bare their inner turmoil. Remain close. You'll discover that maintaining composure amidst the chaos of this city is the greatest display of strength. If this resonates with you, don't hold back. Tap that like button, share it with someone who could benefit from this insight, and subscribe to Stoic Evolution for more authentic discussions on finding your peace and transcending the chaos. Share your thoughts below. When did you realize it was time to leave while preserving your dignity? Let us maintain this wonderful energy. They harbor no animosity towards you. They despise the reflection of themselves that emerges in the stillness of your departure. As their fury intensifies, the truth becomes increasingly clear. The focus was never on you. Their struggles were rooted in the shadows they dared not confront within. Some individuals do not harbor anger due to your betrayal. They seethe with anger at your unwavering resolve. Your tranquility laid bare their turmoil. Your progress rendered their emotional standstill intolerable. And above all, for your silence reflected back a truth, a reflective surface that unveiled all their concealed truths. This video transcends the notion of revenge. It's a journey of taking back your tranquility in a world that sought to steal it away. It revolves around the profound understanding of emotions that allows one to identify projection, coupled with the subtle resilience required to depart while preserving one's dignity. Discover the reasons behind why certain individuals react with hostility, not out of power, but from a place of deep-seated shame. The threat your healing poses to their sense of self. Choosing truth over reaction stands as the most potent decision one can make. Not every assault carries a personal motive. At times, the individual raising their voice may not be directing their anger towards you. They shout past you, grappling with an inner turmoil they cannot confront. When an individual erupts in anger, levels accusations, or abruptly withdraws, the immediate response is often to ponder, what mistake have I made? Yet, the more profound inquiry, one that only emotional insight can reveal, is which wounds within them are stirred by my existence. It is quite astonishing to observe how frequently individuals choose to project their insecurities rather than confront them, opting instead to shift the blame onto others. Rather than admitting their wrongdoing, they foster discord. Rather than facing their own shame, they choose to assault your dignity. This phenomenon is known in psychology as projection, a defense mechanism through which individuals ascribe their own unacceptable thoughts or emotions to others. The man who stands before you, hurling accusations of betrayal, is, in truth, the one harboring unfaithfulness within his own heart. The injured woman accuses you of selfishness, unable to confront her own emotional reliance. The manipulator portrays you as excessive, for your genuine self poses a challenge to the meticulously crafted facade they maintain. Their frustration doesn't truly stem from you. It revolves around the essence of your representation. You transformed into a reflection, not of their allure, but of their refusal to see the truth. Mirrors pose a peril to those who dwell behind facades. What is it that causes the guilty to raise their voices above the innocent? Have you ever observed this intriguing paradox? The individual who inflicts the deepest wounds is frequently the one who feigns the greatest indignation when you cease to endure their actions. What is the reason behind this? Your boundaries challenge the story they wish to tell. As long as you maintain your silence, as long as you continue to question your own worth, they will persist as the protagonists in their own narrative. Yet, as you turn to leave, the facade crumbles, giving way to the weight of shame. The sting of shame penetrates more profoundly than any insult could ever manage, for shame remains a silent tormentor. It murmurs in the shadowy recesses of their minds. You have lost something precious. You shattered the heart of one who sought nothing but to love you. You possessed a sanctuary, and you shattered it. However, there lies a dilemma. Individuals lacking self-awareness often struggle to navigate the complexities of shame. Thus, They project it outward. They strike back. They manipulate perceptions. They incite you to elicit a response. For if you were to erupt, they could point and declare, "See, that's precisely why I had to depart. You are the one lacking stability. It was not my doing." They seek no resolution. They seek solace, freedom from the burden of guilt that arises from the realization of being the antagonist in a narrative they sought to alter. The measured reply: gaze upon the fire, yet refrain from reaching for the flame. What course of action does a Stoic take when confronted with unwarranted anger? Uncomplicated. The storm remains impersonal. Not every accusation receives a response from them. They remain grounded, untouched by the spectacle of illusion. The reality is this: not every emotion presented to you is yours to bear. Some merely reflect the internal battles waged by another individual, a conflict that was never yours to ignite. Moreover, you are under no compulsion to engage in battle. Upon grasping this concept, one realizes that emotional detachment transforms into a manifestation of wisdom rather than mere indifference. Cease the tendency to over-explain. You cease the futile effort of justifying yourself to those determined to misinterpret your intentions. You cease to engage in disputes where the resolution is predetermined to undermine your tranquility. Instead, you opt for something that catches them off guard. Stillness, silence envelopes the air. Tranquility within. Genuine strength. Understanding the right moment to step back. A subtle strength lies in the art of remaining unresponsive. Observing someone come undone, not due to your actions, but because you have chosen to no longer endure their pain. Its strength lies not in domination, but in the value one places on oneself. Your tranquility stands firm, unyielding to any form of compromise. There is no necessity to validate your truth to an individual who has previously turned your words into weapons. Allow them to unleash their cries. Allow them to shape the story as they wish. Allow them to flail in the void, grasping at the remnants of a narrative that has long since moved beyond their reach. You have triumphed, not through their ruin, but by steadfastly refusing to allow them to bring about your downfall. In that triumph, you will discover a treasure far greater than mere vengeance. Liberty, liberation from their turmoil, liberation from unwarranted obligation, the liberation to truly exist according to your own desires. There are individuals so consumed by the pursuit of victory that they fail to pause and consider the price they pay, resorting to manipulation, deception, and a distortion of reality to maintain their grip on power. Yet, what remains unrecognized is this: with each deceit they utter, a piece of their very essence crumbles away. Each mask they don stifles the essence of their true selves. Each victory achieved at the expense of another's dignity does not signify ascendance. Rather, it reveals a decay festering within. In the immediate moment, manipulation exudes a sense of strength. They capture your focus. The narrative is under their control. They assume the role of the victim when it serves their purpose, the rescuer, but only when it suits them, and the one in power when faced with danger. Yet, it remains merely a dance of deception. Illusions are fleeting. Life is not merely a race to outpace those around us. It involves delving one layer further into your own essence. Yet the manipulators, they remain forever outward-looking. They harbor a deep-seated fear of the discoveries that await them in that place. The price of existing in falsehood when your existence is built on deceit. Each day, you unknowingly contribute to a concealed cost. Safety always seems just out of reach. One never quite experiences the depth of love, yet there remains an unshakable sense of being unseen. The individual whom others cherish is not you. It is the persona you constructed to wield power over your circumstances. That is the heart-wrenching tale of manipulation. You seize the moment, yet forfeit the significance. You may triumph in the debate, yet the bond slips away. The tale may be yours to tell, yet the essence of reality slips through your fingers. In the end, every triumph becomes devoid of meaning. No degree of control can mend a broken self. No degree of power can ever satisfy the void that arises from a life devoid of authenticity. That is the reason individuals of that nature tend to come apart at the seams. It is not in the moment of confrontation, but rather in the act of walking away that the true essence reveals itself. Your departure strikes at a vulnerability that their ego cannot shield. It compels them to confront their own reflections. Upon your departure, you transform into the reflection. Many manipulators possess little fear of your departure. They fear the truths your absence might uncover, as long as you remain a part of their existence. They may continue to feign strength, convincing themselves that you rely on them, that the issue lies with you. Yet, when you depart, not in a fit of rage, but with a sense of understanding, their illusion shatters. In an instant, they find themselves isolated, surrounded by the web of deceit they spun, the cunning tactics they employed, and the facades they donned to elevate their own sense of worth. In the stillness, the mirror reveals itself, not a mirror that offers flattery, but one that reveals the truth they have dedicated their whole life to evading. You were not betrayed. You have betrayed me. You were not left behind. You cast them aside. You were not the one who suffered. You were the catalyst for the entire unraveling. Such a truth, it speaks softly yet profoundly. It rests quietly. It pierces with a sharpness that lingers. It remains a persistent presence. The Stoic advantage lies in allowing individuals to find their own way through loss. The Stoics imparted a principle that transcends time. Avoid the futility of engaging in disputes with the foolish. Time unveils everything. There is no need to safeguard your reputation from an individual who has constructed their very essence upon falsehoods. There is no necessity to reveal them. There is no need for their destruction. What is the reason behind this? For they are already crumbling beneath the burden of their own deceptions. In the embrace of integrity, time transforms into a steadfast companion. In the realm of manipulation, time emerges as the ultimate arbiter. Allow it to unfold. Allow them to experience bewilderment in your silence. Allow them to ponder why their familiar strategies no longer rattle you. Allow them to unravel as their plans disintegrate in your absence. Your silence was mistaken for defeat, yet it was, in truth, a manifestation of wisdom. They mistook your serenity for frailty, yet it was a testament to your spiritual fortitude. They believed they had shattered you, yet all they truly accomplished was stirring the essence within you that refuses to endure disrespect any longer. The profound victory lies in your ability to heal without inflicting pain upon others. The reality is this: most manipulators are unable to endure. They cannot triumph over an opponent who refuses to engage in their game. Your evolution, rather than your retribution, is what truly overwhelms them. Healing reveals the truths that harm sought to conceal, and tranquility is the one essence they cannot forge. That is the reason for their current anger, not due to your assault on them, but rather because you eluded their grasp. For you have ceased to twirl within their theatrics, ceased to respond to their turmoil, ceased the need to justify yourself against their expectations. And above all, for the simple reason that you chose not to seek retribution. You have departed, taking with you your serenity, your authenticity, and your dignity. And that is the way manipulators meet their downfall. Not with a bang, but with a subtle, irrevocable conclusion. There is no necessity for punishment. Each day they rise, they inflict upon themselves a quiet torment, fully aware of the good they have shattered, a loss that is irrevocable. They were unprepared for your ascent. They anticipated your pleas, your tears, your descent into despair following the sting of their treachery. In their mind, that was the narrative, a moment where they stride away, imbued with a sense of strength. As you succumb to the weight of your burdens, hidden away from the world. Yet, you remain standing. There was a moment of stillness. You have been processed, and then you transformed. It is that, rather than your fury or your utterances, which they find unforgivable. The presence of emotional resilience poses a significant challenge to those who seek to manipulate emotions. To an individual who excels in mastering their emotions, your unwavering strength poses a significant challenge. Emotional resilience often whispers rather than shouts. It remains unyielding in its quest for resolution. It remains composed in public, avoiding the pursuit of superficial approval. Emotional resilience embodies a serene strength amidst chaos. It is the act of embracing contemplation rather than mere response. It is the soft, resolute whisper within that declares, "I shall not be broken by this. I have yielded sufficiently." For the manipulator, that silence is intolerable. For when you find your calm, when you stand firm, when you cease to sway to their rhythm, who do they become in that moment? They have ceased to be the puppeteer. They stand as a solitary figure, their voice echoing into the void, met only with the stillness of unresponsiveness. When your strength mirrors their void, clarity emerges. As you mend, as you ascend, as you start to reveal to the world that their wounds do not dictate your essence, a fierce reaction unfolds on their end. They must confront the disparity. As you radiate understanding, they become mired in uncertainty. As you advance with unwavering integrity, they find themselves ensnared in the web of their own self-deception. As you forge ahead with purpose and resolve, they remain entangled in an effort to reshape a history for which they will not accept responsibility. Each moment they witness your flourishing, each instance your name is uttered with reverence. Every time someone gazes upon you and remarks, you appear more radiant, more powerful, more insightful. This serves as a gentle reminder. There was no requirement for them to be complete. All you required was the room to rediscover your true self. And that realization becomes their own private torment. Your kindness was misinterpreted as weakness. Let us speak candidly. They were unprepared for a presence as remarkable as yours, a person who extended forgiveness. Never. Yet, on numerous occasions, a presence that lingered far beyond its merit. Someone who explained, presented, unveiled, thinking love would be enough to awaken change. Yet those ensnared by their own ego remain oblivious to the essence of grace. They believe that kindness equates to reliance. Such patience embodies a certain passivity. Such devotion signifies a lack of vision. In that moment, when you chose to draw the line not through a shout, but with a poised silence, they found themselves unsettled. For you chose not to simply turn your back. You departed without falling apart, without succumbing to bitterness, without attempting to spoil them. With each step, you carried an unspoken strength that resonated in the silence, the kind that declares my unavailability for this iteration of existence. And that profound sense of self-worth. It instills fear in those who have constructed their sense of self around the notion of being indispensable. Psychological boundaries. The strength they never foresaw when you established your inaugural genuine boundary. A subtle change occurred, not solely within them, but also within you. For boundaries are not synonymous with walls. They serve as barriers of self-respect. They distinguish your authentic self from the boundaries you choose to uphold. And in that moment, when you ceased the endless explanations, the excessive generosity, the relentless stretching of yourself, you stripped away the very element that granted them a sense of superiority and access. Your compassion was within their reach. Kindly direct your focus. The depths of your feelings. They preyed upon your vulnerability, believing they could manipulate it to their advantage. Yet now, your silence speaks volumes, indicating that you can no longer grasp what you once played with. And that is what causes them the greatest pain. It is not your leaving that matters, but rather the truth that you have transformed into something they can no longer grasp, the blaze that refuses to be snuffed out. Here lies the paradox. Had you let out a scream, they might label you as dramatic. Had you succumbed, they might label you as unsteady. Had you pleaded, they might label you as reliant. Yet, you chose to do none of it. You have been restored. You have transcended. You remained quiet, not due to a lack of words, but because the need to express them had faded away. Such a level of poise. It reveals all that they endeavored to conceal, not merely from you, but from their own awareness as well. Indeed, they are quite upset, yet not in your expressions, not at your deeds. They are furious that their scheme failed to shatter you. It unveiled your essence. It stirred the essence within you that refuses to diminish for the sake of others' ease. The aspect of your being that has shed the fear of relinquishing what was never truly tangible in the first place. And that power, the evolution, the stillness that envelopes the air, it resonates more profoundly than any clash ever might. A manipulator finds a profound discomfort in the presence of someone who opts for silence rather than succumbing to chaos. They embrace confrontation without fear. They thrive on it. They are unbothered by disputes. They wield the power to shape the story that resides within them. Yet, what they struggle to comprehend, what genuinely unsettles them, is your serene aloofness. Not the frigid variety, not the harsh variety, yet the quiet, formidable essence that proclaims, I perceive it all now. And I embrace tranquility. The stillness that envelopes the air. It lacks passivity. It is not a sign of frailty. It remains the singular truth they cannot distort, unable to manipulate reality, unable to exert influence. For in the absence of sound, they find no fodder to weave their narratives. Where language becomes a tool of conflict, silence serves as a protective barrier in toxic dynamics. Each word you utter transforms into a source of energy. Should tears escape your eyes, they label you as unpredictable. When you stand up for yourself, they label you as overly sensitive. Should you choose to retaliate, they will assume the role of the victim. It's a carefully orchestrated arrangement. Kindly provide your response. They twist and warp the truth. You sense a whirlwind of thoughts swirling within you. They emerge victorious. Yet, in that moment, you take the unexpected turn they never saw coming. Your silence lingers. The machine ceases to receive sustenance. Cease the effort of justifying yourself to those who are determined to misinterpret your intentions. In that instant, the whole edifice crumbles to the ground. Manipulation hinges on your involvement. Your energy is essential to them. Your elucidations, your indignation, the perplexity you feel. Devoid of that, their facade crumbles into nothingness. Your silence reflects their essence. They wove tales to lull themselves into slumber each night. You were perhaps responding with a bit more intensity than the situation warranted, that you were the one in need, that your existence would be incomplete without them. Yet, at this moment, you find yourself very much alive, in a state of tranquility, and utterly indifferent to their theater. The dissonance, it gnaws at their very essence, an unbearable weight for their ego to bear. Your silence conveys much more than a simple declaration of finality. It declares, I have perceived the facade. I have shed the mask I once wore, and that is the moment when the truth reveals itself. This is not intended for you. Yet for them, they turn their back on someone truly authentic. They were never truly in control, a reality that loomed over them like a shadow. The reality that their strategies amounted to mere clamor, and you have left behind the clamor of noise. The profound practice of silence requires a certain fortitude to find one's voice. Yet, it requires a certain wisdom to embrace silence when the act of speaking proves futile. This is the essence of Stoic practice. Self-control, lucidity, separation. Your silence is not a means of evasion. It embodies a profound commitment to the soul's journey. It is a steadfast commitment to safeguarding your tranquility against the chaos of another's turmoil. It is a deliberate choice to protect your vitality. Do not cast it into a chasm of deceit. In the stillness lies a profound beauty. It conveys the entirety of its message without uttering a single word. No longer will you have the power to shape my identity. My thoughts are no longer yours to explore. Your drama has ceased to hold value in my emotional landscape. Such a depth of inner strength surpasses any boisterous response. Why the absence of sound wounds them deeper than spoken phrases. Could those who rely on control ever anticipate that you would need to justify yourself? They desire your pursuit, to implore for understanding, to unleash your anguish, only for them to contort it into accusations. Yet, when you opt for silence rather than a response, you entirely alter the dynamic. Now they find themselves in a state of contemplation. They are the ones revisiting every moment. They are the ones grappling with the question of why this is no longer functioning as it once did. The solution is quite straightforward. As a result of your growth, for you witnessed the cycle unfold. As you came to understand, your words failed to touch a single soul. They were ricocheting off a barrier of arrogance. Thus, you ceased your efforts to seek understanding. You ceased to require validation in your correctness. You ceased providing explanations to an individual who merely listened to reply. Forever untouched by contemplation. That stillness, it holds a depth of meaning. It brims with a sense of self-worth. The resonance of boundaries solidifying echoes through the air. It's the calm before your rebirth, not their redemption. The strength that cannot be seized, only restored. When someone loses access to your voice, they lose more than words. They lose control. Attention wanes. They diminish in strength. For the reality is, they never truly held any power over you. Only the power you handed them every time you over-explained, excessively remorseful, or overcompensated. Yet here we are, the equation has shifted. Your silence stands as testament to your departure from their game. You're writing new terms, concepts rooted in the understanding of emotions, within a state of tranquility, within psychological boundaries that remain steadfast against guilt. And that is what genuinely unravels them. Let's be honest, each of us is familiar with a certain individual. Perhaps we were that very someone. Who would have imagined that kindness could hold such power? To forgive and steadfast, that would suffice, sufficient to transform an individual, enough to make them see your worth, sufficient to halt the deceit and ignite change. For a time, you spun tales for yourself. You believed they were merely wounded. By extending my affection, they will surely become more gentle. With enough patience, transformation will come. Yet, what truly transpired? An illustration drawn from the tangible world, the gradual, smoldering ache of forsaking oneself. Let us engage in a discussion about Hadas. Hadas embodied a quiet strength, a woman whose voice remained a whisper even in the midst of chaos. Forever the one who seeks harmony, perpetually the voice that speaks up. It's perfectly fine. I comprehend, even in moments when it felt far from acceptable, even in moments of confusion. The fabrications continued to unfold. Her partner subtly manipulated her perceptions, not by means of shouting, yet amidst the quietude, not by means of insults, yet through understated rejections. You're caught in a web of thoughts. Try not to take things too personally. Your interpretations often seem to miss the mark. And Hadas, being deeply empathetic, I held that belief. She held the conviction that her kindness might fill the void of their emotional desolation. She believed her love could fill their void. She held the conviction that loyalty was synonymous with perseverance. Even if it pained, she remained, not due to a deficiency in strength. Yet, it was precisely because she harbored an abundance of hope. Emotional intelligence starts with confronting difficult realities. Yet, what we learn from emotional intelligence is profound. Unfettered kindness can lead to a betrayal of oneself. When love is turned into a weapon, it transforms into a cage. It took Hadas 2 years to uncover the truth. She was not the one healing him. She gradually diminished her own presence, allowing him to loom larger in comparison. Each time she turned a blind eye to the warning signs. Each time she restrained herself, biting her tongue to sidestep discord. Each time, she found herself justifying his aloofness. She gradually eroded her own sense of value. One fateful day, she found herself gazing into the mirror, only to be met with a reflection that felt utterly foreign. Not due to her being shattered, yet she had transformed into a version of herself that was utterly unrecognizable. Silenced, filled with unease, perpetually expressing regret. That was the moment she ceased to question, why doesn't he value me? And started asking, why am I allowing this? That solitary change transformed everything. The error in judgment of the manipulator, as you can observe, individuals resemble the man in Hadas's existence. Their target's awakening is not anticipated. They confuse compassion with desperation, compassion for frailty, endurance in the face of trepidation. Thus, when an individual such as Hadas ultimately declares, enough is enough, the manipulator finds themselves in a state of confusion. For an extended period, they have relied on your willingness to forsake yourself. There is an expectation for you to remain, to continue embracing love amidst the deception, to persist in the face of silence, to continue offering without expectation of reciprocity. And when that generosity ceases, it does so not in fury, yet in the quietude, not through intimidation. Yet, in the embrace of detachment, their entire existence starts to come apart at the seams. From tolerance to transformation upon Hadas's departure, she departed without any theatrics. She departed with grace. She kept it to herself. She refrained from attempting to convey her thoughts to him. She left no door ajar, She simply stopped responding. She took back her time. She took back control of her thoughts. She took back the voice that had been muted for far too long. Do you want to hear what transpired? She drifted into a serene slumber. Her anxiety dissipated. She began to sense the pulse of life returning within her, not driven by vengeance, yet from the act of renewal. And he raged against it. He charged her with transformation. He confided in his friends that she had an icy demeanor, unfaithful, imitation. Yet, the focus was not on Hades. It was a matter of relinquishing the emotional sustenance he believed he could master indefinitely. This imparts valuable lessons. The tale of Hades is not an uncommon one. It is the silent truth that envelopes countless individuals, both men and women, who have sacrificed too much for an extended period, to those who never genuinely appreciated what was offered to them. In each of those narratives, a pivotal moment inevitably arises, not a collapse, a moment of revelation. That instant when clarity dawns upon you. I owe my loyalty to no one who diminishes my worth. My kindness is not a means to purchase someone else's ease. My silence does not signify weakness. It is profound insight. At that moment, the balance shifts. That is the moment when the manipulator relinquishes control. That is the moment when your true self begins to emerge. And for those individuals, it transcends mere loss. It is a profound sense of humiliation, for it is the individual they held in the least regard, ascended to the pinnacle of achievement. One might assume that the journey of healing would usher in a sense of tranquility. That is the moment when the arguments cease. As you distance yourself from the tumult, as you embark on the journey of embracing joy once more, those who cause you pain would effortlessly fade away from your existence, with quietude and reverence. However, that is not the outcome that unfolds. Rather, they become filled with rage. In an instant, the individual who overlooked your presence, you were treated with a lack of respect or diminished your worth. Your growth has now become a source of concern. Your tranquility breeds their resentment. They scrutinize your radiance. Your transformation faces scrutiny. What is the reason behind this? Your healing reveals their shortcomings. Those who thrive on control cannot bear the light of exposure. Manifestation of psychological projection. In the moments when you felt shattered, perplexed, providing excessive detail about oneself, your actions were all too foreseeable, manageable, compact enough for their grasp. Yet, it was in the moment of your healing that everything began to shift, not with great volume, not driven by vengeance, yet, with a gentle and unwavering presence. It instilled fear in them. For manipulators, confrontation holds no fear. They dread becoming insignificant. They dread the instant you cease to monitor their social media presence. Cease the need to justify your choices. They no longer require validation to feel complete. It is at that moment when the facade of psychological projection begins to crumble. Their emptiness can no longer be attributed to you. They are unable to articulate any further. They are the one in need of assistance. The mirror now spins. The reflection gazing back is far from kind. Your evolution challenges their story. Healing transcends mere strength. It unsettles the very foundation of the system they constructed to maintain their sense of superiority. Consider it carefully. A rendition of you was created, imbued with emotion. Precarious, feeble, they nourished that narrative within themselves. And at times, even to those around us, the story allowed them to maintain a sense of control, ensured their justification. Yet, at this moment, your radiance is undeniable, concentrated, serene, lucid and perceptive, and proceeding with elegance. The version of you they once depicted has faded into oblivion. The paradox. It inflicts a wound on the ego. A chasm emerges between the facade they require you to embody and the reality of your true self. They sense a vulnerability, not by your words. Yet, it is precisely because there are no words required. To the insecure, inner peace can often resemble a form of rejection. Let us clarify. Your transformation was not intended to cause them pain. You blossomed into your own remedy. Yet for one who relies on being the focal point of your universe, your tranquility is treachery. Your happiness is a form of disrespect. Your autonomy is a form of retribution, not merely for the sake of it, yet within the confines of their thoughts. Your liberation signifies their relinquished grip. They will claim you are behaving as if you were someone entirely different, that you have grown distant or self-centered. Yet, what lies beneath their words is, you have become emotionally distant from me. You have stepped away from the character I crafted for you. You are whole once more. And that fills me with dread, due to your completeness. It reveals the gaps in their character. Emotional intelligence speaks volumes. Allow them to embrace discomfort. Healing is not always a gentle process. At times, it fosters a sense of unease. At times, it disturbs the flow of interactions. At times, those who once celebrated your vulnerabilities now embrace your strength. And that is perfectly acceptable, for it is emotional intelligence that serves as our reminder. Those who genuinely care for you will embrace your growth without feeling threatened. They will commemorate it if they find themselves in discomfort at this moment. Allow them their space. Do not diminish. Refrain from providing explanations. Resist the urge to retreat into familiar habits that might comfort them at the expense of your own growth. Your responsibility in that matter has come to an end. Your sole responsibility at this moment is to celebrate your evolution. Guard the tranquility for which you fought so fiercely. What their anger truly signifies, when they unleash their fury once more, when they cast delicate barbs, when they charge you with transformation, when they contort your healing into an act of selfishness. Keep this in mind. They harbor no resentment towards your progress. They are frustrated by their lack of progress. Your boundaries do not offend them. They feel insulted. They have ceased to have an effect on you. Your distance does not leave them wounded. They are hurt by their limited access. The reality is, you have transformed into a reflection of their untapped potential. If they had opted for growth rather than control, if they had opted for truth rather than ego, had they opted for love over power, yet they chose not to. And at this moment, your healing stands as evidence that you never had to conform to their ways to achieve victory. All you had to do was embrace your true self more fully. As you embark on the journey of healing, transforming, and retreating, be prepared for the possibility that they may attempt to draw you back into their orbit unexpectedly, not through acts of kindness, not with precision. Yet, there are emotional snares cloaked in the guise of provocation. They will prod at your quietude. Your intentions will be scrutinized. They will cast forth half-truths, emotional manipulation, and delicate provocations crafted to ignite a singular response. A response, for it is in that instant of reaction you have returned to the arena. And for those who rely on control, your emotional responses fuel their existence, the intricate design through which manipulators lure your emotions. This is the mechanism of the cycle. 1. They taunt you with something deliberately harsh or perplexing. 2. An instinct to protect stirs within you. Elucidate, indeed, or respond in kind. 3. Your response becomes the evidence they need to label you as the one lacking stability. 4. And just in that moment, you have ceased to be the tranquil presence, focused, the restored essence of your being. You find yourself woven into their story once more, where they assume the role of the victim. And you are the one who seems a bit unhinged. This is no mere coincidence. It's a calculated form of psychological entrapment. Should you let your guard down, your energy will be consumed in the defense of your peace rather than in the experience of it. The art of remaining unperturbed. Emotional intelligence does not imply the cessation of feelings. It signifies the discernment of what warrants a reply and what truly warrants your separation. Not every insult demands a response. Not every falsehood warrants a response. Not every effort to provoke you must find its mark. When an individual intentionally stirs your feelings, what they are truly engaging in is an inquiry. Am I still able to exert control over you? Each response, each contention, each fervent communication, it states, indeed, your access remains intact, yet there was only silence. Silence speaks. This iteration of myself has ceased to exist, and that truth reverberates through their very essence. Psychological boundaries are not constructed for ease. They are crafted for liberation. As soon as you start establishing genuine boundaries, individuals will put them to the test. They will label you as distant. They will claim that you have transformed. They will suggest that you are self-centered, merciless, intense. However, those do not truly represent your character. Their responses reflect your evolution. You had a tendency to elaborate excessively. Now you fall silent. You once remained entrenched in the debate. Now you depart in tranquility. You once took in guilt as if it were your own. You have come to understand what burdens do not belong to you. Such a transformation may evoke feelings of unease among those who flourished in the comfort of your compliance. Thus, they will incite the version of you that once was, yearning to revive the part of you that embraced their tumult. Yet, resist the temptation. Do not bring back to life those you had to lay to rest for your own survival. The path of Stoicism. Reply with conviction, devoid of sentiment. The Stoics imparted a profound concept, the one who provokes your ire. It governs you. Thus, they hone their ability to remain unresponsive, yet to be grounded. Grounded in principles. Grounded in understanding. Anchored in a tranquility so profound that no outside turmoil could penetrate it. Your task is now set before you. Not to struggle more fiercely, not to engage in a battle of wits. Yet, to achieve such a state of centeredness that their provocations merely bounce off your tranquility. Your strength lies not in the words you utter. It resides in the silence of unspoken words, the guiding force of emotions. Inquire before you respond. Prior to reacting to any of their actions, pose the question to yourself. Is this a matter of truth or merely a lure? Will this provide insight or merely reignite a cycle I've long since transcended? Am I responding to safeguard my integrity, or am I merely shielding my ego if your answer exposes fear, pride, or perhaps lingering scars? Don't respond. Safeguarding your tranquility holds greater significance than asserting your argument. For there are conflicts crafted to erase the essence of your being. And the instant you immerse yourself, you not only lose the argument, you lose altogether. Your tranquility, in the quiet moments, you will find your liberation. You have journeyed too far to allow their turmoil to drag you back into the depths of old, suffocating patterns. There is no longer a necessity for you to demonstrate your correctness. There is no longer a need for you to plead for comprehension. You no longer need to meet fire with fire. Your silence conveys a multitude of unspoken words. Your absence is already altering the narrative, and their discomfort. That weight does not belong to you. It is the inevitable outcome of being deprived of a presence that once bestowed upon them more than they were worthy of receiving. Remain motionless. Stay grounded. Above all, keep your distance from the game. That, above all else, is what shatters their hold. At first glance, it appears that they harbor a strong dislike for you. You are overlooked. They badmouth you. It has been said that you have transformed. They may even mock your growth or reshape your narrative. Yet that fury, it's a facade. For the reason that, at the core, hidden beneath the layers of irony, underneath the chill, underneath the shield of bravado, there exists a truth they dread to acknowledge. They harbor no animosity towards you. They harbor a deep-seated disdain for their own being, for losing you. Beneath the mask of anger lies the heavy burden of shame. Shame lingers in silence. It doesn't shout with fury. It refrains from hurling objects or slamming doors. It murmurs softly. It remains, a presence that refuses to fade. It trails behind individuals into the quiet and remains by their side as the clamor dissipates. And the reality is, they sense it. They are fully aware of their actions. They are aware that they have shattered something innocent. They understand that an opportunity existed to flourish alongside someone who truly valued them, and they wasted it away. Yet, there lingers a sense of shame. To an individual who seems to be unaware of their own reflections, the weight of it all feels insufferable. It seems akin to fragility. Thus, rather than confronting it, they strive to embrace a more soothing sentiment. Fury. For anger demands no reflection. Anger demands no apology. Anger fails to compel them to confront their own reflection and acknowledge. I take full responsibility for this. Yet, there lingers a sense of shame. Accountability is the price of shame, and that is the singular burden they never mastered the art of bearing. The act of attributing one's own thoughts, feelings, or motives to another person. Redirecting responsibility to escape the burden of self-disdain. What actions do they take? They cast their visions into the future. They transform their remorse into accusations. Their sorrow transformed into barbs. Their guilt transformed into a rationale. They whisper to themselves, "You abandoned them. Your indifference was palpable. Your authenticity is questionable. You believe you've risen above. What is the reason behind this?" For those narratives serve as a shield against the harsh realities. They obliterated the very thing that might have salvaged them. They confused compassion with weakness. They set fire to a bridge they lacked the wisdom to traverse. They strike out at you, for your progress serves as a mirror to their own inertia. Your tranquility serves as a reflection of their internal conflict. And with great anguish, for the simple reason that you chose not to obliterate them. You have simply outgrown them. And thus, the burden of shame becomes even more challenging to escape. Your tranquility serves as their retribution. They anticipated you would remain insignificant, to remain accessible, to remain scarred, and perpetually in a state of partial recovery. Thus, they could maintain the facade of dominance. However, in contrast, you have found your healing. Your explanations have ceased. You ceased to offer apologies for your expectations. Your progress was not driven by malice, yet from a place of self-value. And now, each time they witness your power, they are not merely reminded of what has been taken from them. They reflect on the possibilities of what they might have achieved if they had opted for truth rather than ego. Had they embraced humility rather than seeking control. If they had opted to flourish alongside you rather than seeking to overpower you. Yet, they chose not to. Your silence now echoes in their minds, a haunting presence far more powerful than you ever were. The sorrow from which they cannot flee. The most profound punishment you ever bestowed upon them was not a direct confrontation. Your absence lingered in the air. The tranquility that belongs to you, your steadfastness in not retreating, your capacity to progress without requiring their comprehension. For now, the truth is unveiled. You were the one who extended unwavering loyalty, free of any conditions. You were the one who bestowed grace upon them, a gift they had not earned. You were the one who recognized their potential, even as they wandered through their shadows, and it was cast aside. That is the tragedy they cannot alter, for it resides within the recesses of their recollection. Yet, not even the fiercest rage can wipe it away. No quantity of blame can mask the truth. They experienced no betrayal. They were simply not selected, for they turned away from the path of accountability. The Stoic comprehension does not confuse their fury with strength. For those lacking emotional maturity, raising one's voice seems to embody power. Yet, for the Stoic mind, silence embodies strength. In the embrace of stillness, one finds clarity. In the face of turmoil, tranquility emerges as the most profound answer. When they strike, stand your ground. When they incite, refrain from retaliating. When accusations arise, do not shoulder burdens that were never meant for you. Their fury transcends mere assertions of power. It transcends the notion of truth. It hardly pertains to you at all. It revolves around the shame they are unwilling to confront, the unspoken guilt that lingers in the shadows, the void they fashioned, now a solitary companion in their silence. And that, above all else, is the root of their anger. Not due to your shortcomings, yet it was due to your unwavering decision to no longer accept failure as an option. A response was desired. A piercing scream echoed through the silence. A detailed analysis. A torrent of furious messages they could reshape into a tale that ultimately cast them as the aggrieved party. Yet, in place of words, you offered them silence, not as a form of punishment, not for the purpose of manipulation. Yet, you have come to understand that certain individuals are unworthy of your words. Certain tales are best left without a concluding passage. Some betrayals warrant nothing less than a deliberate separation. The silence, it was never intended to cause them pain, yet it did. For silence, when it springs from strength rather than fear, resonates as the most profound judgment of all. The burden of enforced silence. At the outset, they reassured themselves that you would return. Your silence was but a fleeting moment, that you would yield to the unease of remaining unacknowledged. Yet, as the days transformed into weeks, and weeks transformed into a void of absence, a sensation stirred within them, one they had not anticipated, the reverberation of their own decisions. Your silence has forged an emptiness. In that emptiness, every harsh word they uttered reverberated back. Each maneuver echoed once more. Each moment they believed they held the advantage now lingers in the atmosphere. Left in silence, no one remains to provide an explanation, to protect, to grant them forgiveness at a moment's notice. Only them, their moral compass, and the truth they can no longer manipulate, the essence of the mind's reality. In the stillness, one is compelled to face oneself. For the majority, the prospect of being overlooked holds little terror. They dread the thought of fading into obscurity. They dread that the version of you they believe they could manipulate has transcended their grasp. In their absence, unburdened by the past, for the present moment, you have transformed into a figure of dread in their eyes, a chapter forever closed, a reflection they cannot control, an indelible memory. Your silence fails to provide them with the closure they seek. It instills a sense of responsibility in them. That pain surpasses any confrontation one might endure. The profound practice of embracing silence. Please do not misconstrue this. Silence does not equate to avoidance. It's not a subtle form of aggression. It is not a matter of coldness. It embodies a profound commitment to the inner journey. It is the decision to remain unresponsive, simply to ease another's discomfort in their chaos. It is the choice to safeguard your vitality. Do not squander it on those who exploit your compassion for their own gain. Within the realm of Stoicism, a profound principle exists. In moments when language falls short, the journey of dignity commences. That is the place you find yourself in at this moment, transcending the necessity for explanation, transcending the impulse for vengeance, beyond the yearning for comprehension from one who remained perpetually deaf to my words. You've embraced tranquility, not due to their merit. Yet, it was precisely because you did. They must confront the reality of their own existence. Let us speak candidly. There is no necessity for punishment, as they already exist, each time they unlock their phone and find your name absent. That is the outcome. Whenever someone inquires, what has become of them in the present moment? Yet, they remain silent, devoid of a response. That is the outcome. Each time your name graces their ears, they find themselves paralyzed, unable to muster the bravery to connect. That is the outcome, not as a form of punishment. Yet, it is precisely because they are aware of what has slipped through their fingers. And what is the reason behind it? Shame possesses an uncanny ability to murmur softly, especially in moments when the world around us is filled with noise. Yet, in the stillness that follows, when all else fades into silence, you were the reflection, and they broke it into pieces. Your silence lingered longer than they anticipated. Yet, when it finally occurred, the silence came to an end. It evolved into a declaration, a truth that remained unspoken, a threshold they were unable to breach, a burden they could no longer transfer to you. They perceived you as distant. Yet, you were not. You were mending. You were taking back your sense of self. You were retreating from the clamor to safeguard something cherished, the tranquility that belongs to you, and that is what will forever linger in their memories, not due to your reminder. Yet, it is your absence that now echoes in their minds, far more than your presence ever could. They desired for you to engage in battle, in the pursuit of safeguarding your reputation, to advocate for your reality, to step into the realm of emotions and demonstrate one's worth. Yet, you chose not to. You chose not to seek validation through conflict. You chose not to seek vengeance for what was right. Victory was not a necessity for you, for you have come to understand that this is not a game deserving of your time. And departing, that was not the conclusion. That marked the dawn of your freedom, emotional intelligence, transitioning from response to autonomy. In every healing journey, there comes a pivotal moment when the inquiry transforms from a desire to prove others wrong to a deeper reflection on why the need for validation existed in the first place. That is the pinnacle of self-mastery. That marks the transition from mere survival to the power of choice. True strength lies not in dominating others. It's a matter of standing firm against their influence on your emotional landscape. The individual who departs with a sense of tranquility is invariably the one who holds the reins of their own destiny, not pertaining to the other individual, yet in their own essence. And that mastery, it cannot be seized. Only in silence can it be reclaimed, beyond limits, by means of complete transparency, the strength found in abstaining from the competition. Individuals who thrive on control engage in a strategic game of emotional chess. They advance with purpose. Your reactions are put to the test. They incite just enough to maintain your unease. They engage in brief contests, striving for victory in the present moment, regardless of what they may forfeit on the morrow. Yet you have transformed into something more profound. Your responses are not born from past injuries. You are selecting from a wellspring of knowledge. Your interest in the outcome of who seems to triumph has waned. Your dedication lies with those who truly evolve, and that is the kind of power that endures beyond every game ever played. For in the moment you cease your quest to conquer them, you have transcended them already. In their absence, you find your way back to who you truly are. The true strength of your narrative lies not in what was lost. It is what you discovered. In that moment, you discovered tranquility. Clarity has been discovered. You have discovered a version of yourself that no longer inquires, "Was it my fault?" Yet, it boldly proclaims, "I recognize my value." You have ceased your pursuit of closure. You are the resolution. The instant you cease to justify your existence to an audience that never truly heard you, you effectively shut the door on the charade they required you to continue. And now they seethe with fury. They twist and turn in a mesmerizing dance. They cast their accusations upon the silence. Yet, the silence is not a form of punishment. It is an unvarnished truth, presented without remorse. Quietly, spiritual growth ascends, unaccompanied by clamor. Genuine strength resides in silence. It requires no spectators. It requires no vengeance. It simply exists, and that is what you have transformed into. Steadfast in silence, serenely out of reach, immovably impervious, not due to a toughening of your spirit, but rather a blossoming of your resilience. In the journey of healing, you unearth truths that will forever elude them. Victory in the quest for freedom is not achieved through the clash of arms. It resides within the realm of self-respect. Yet, there are those who may never find their way to that destination, for they are preoccupied with battling phantoms they dare not confront. Allow them. As they continue to toy with the emotions of others, you have gracefully exited the stage. You no longer seek victory. You are in the process of creating, to bring forth, to evolve, and no one shall ever strip that away from you again. You did not bring about their ruin. You chose not to reveal them. You refrained from seeking vengeance. You have just been restored, and that sufficed. Sufficient to peel away the facade. Sufficient to shatter the facade. Just enough to serve as a silent reminder that their dominion ceased at the threshold of your self-respect. The most profound transformation often whispers rather than shouts. It is the serene resurgence that unfolds when you cease the pursuit of resolution. Begin the journey of selecting yourself. Allow them to unleash their fury. Allow them to bend the narrative. Allow them to be engulfed by the very silence they have woven. You have already turned your back, not from a place of pride, yet from a place of clarity. Such a victory is one they will never truly grasp. They were engaged in a struggle for dominance. You were journeying toward tranquility. Their desire was to emerge victorious. Yet, the desire for growth lingered within you. Ultimately, that is what renders you invincible. If this message struck a chord with you, consider passing it along to someone who could benefit from it. And keep in mind, your silence does not signify weakness.